Yes. Is anyone going to watch the basketball game?
I am, although I'm fucking annoyed. I'm a Thunder fan, but I've grown fond of the Spurs.
Let's go Knicks, bro.
No, fucking.
Let's go Knicks.
Is it on at 7:30? Do you know?
Central. Starts pretty soon.
It's probably already planned who's gonna win, anyways. So fun to watch, though.
You think so?
Wait, am I making this up, Rene? Or you were an NBA player? Is that right?
Yeah.
What do you think about? What's your then professional opinion on everyone saying OKC is just a bunch of floppers and it's ruining the game?
He's a flopper.
I don't like the flopping shit. You know, you look at their free throws and stuff like that. But at the same time, you know, James Harden did the exact same thing. So it's not a new phenomenon, but I don't think it's something that I like seeing. I was a big man, so all those little flopping fouls always went against me. So I'm a bit biased.
Wait, did somebody say you were an NBA player, Rene?
Yeah.
He brought the soccer flop to the NBA, and ever since then,
It was me. Yeah, me and he actually did bring the flop to the end.
I'm pretty sure y'all are joking, right? Like, you're saying.
no, he's really NBA, dude. He's legit.
No, he really
He's legit.
is. That's not a joke.
Superstar. We're just teasing him about the flop because we're all jealous.
Remember when Noah wanted to fight him? Just think about that for a second.
No, the other guy.
You know-
Who's the other fucking retard?
Get the fuck out
So
of here.
Elec wanted to fight him, and I did not want to see Elec get speared across the ground.
Wait a minute. He doesn't sound black. What are you doing in the NBA?
I'm not in the NBA.
Sorry, I'm just fucking with you, man.
What position did you?
Center.
God damn, you probably a big ass boy then, man.
Oh
Shit.
my god.
He's
How tall are you?
2.13 meters.
Fuck.
Is that
No, you gotta give him freedom units.
Oh,
Yeah, you got him feet.
7 feet.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'd still probably post up on you, dude, and bounce you out the zone, dude.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Easy. Tell him. Tell him, guys. That's easy.
What do you think about Wemby? You think you would be able to guard him?
No, I'd
Oh
have
God,
to.
dude.
No, I would have to make him fight every inch of the floor, try to tire him.
I think
I mean,
Wemby's wingspan is like 7 feet 2 inches or something wild like that.
I mean, that's shorter than I think he's like 7'4". I mean, it's probably at least.
Is he just going to end up being the best player in history? I think it's a possibility.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Cooper Flag?
He doesn't. Wemby has a high ceiling, but you know, he's Kareem 2.0, the exact same phenomenon basically. But you know, with what in the modern game, you know, he can shoot threes, he can dribble, his defensive presence is amazing. You know, if he stays healthy, and that's the only key. You know, he can. I mean, Tim Duncan is another similar parallel. It's kind of funny. They played the Knicks. Duncan won his first championship against the Knicks in 1999. So
That's right.
might be repeating a bit of history.
Did you ever play against Alex Lopez?
Alex Lopez, I think so. No,
Yeah, I know him.
no, I don't. I was thinking like Brooke and Robin. No, I don't think.
Yeah,
so.
he's got a brother, Chris, and I think and Robin Lopez are his two brothers, and I think they both play as well. They're all of them are over 7 foot. Or actually, Alex is 6'11", and then the brothers are.
Yeah, I think I played against his older brothers. I don't think I played against him.
Alex is the oldest, and then Chris and Robin are the younger ones.
Oh well, I guess he's older than me.
Yeah, but they're all very nice guys. I've known Chris and Robin since they were fucking in kindergarten.
Yeah, those are big guys.
Bro, they were bigger than me in kindergarten, dude, and I was already in middle school. Yeah, I shit you not, dude. They were like already fucking damn near 6 foot tall, dude. So it's wild.
I didn't become the tallest until high school. I had friends taller than me in grade.
Oh, that's cool, Rene. I didn't know that about you.
I think the Spurs got it though, man. No doubt.
Are they trans?
The Spurs?
Yeah, well, obviously they're all women.
Easy there, Yasuke.
Well, I didn't even think about that. Like, by Yasuke's theory, you have to be a woman, Rene.
Why?
Because
played in the
all
NBA?
NBA players are women.
He has a theory on that.
I don't think he says all. I think he means like the main ones, but no.
No, he says all.
He says all. Yeah.
Oh, that's why they kicked me out, because I wasn't a woman. That's what's going to be. That's
So but he's an actual crazy person.
So are you.
I mean, about that topic.
Yeah, you don't think they're all women. You're crazy. You're insane.
what's his evidence that they're
The bones.
Digital phonology.
the bones? Like
He
our hips are too wide or something?
He analyzes pictures from the internet and can determine, from those images, the real assigned sex of the person.
Are you fucking serious?
Yep.
I've heard him talk about this, and like, it's just blows over my head. But like, he truly believes this.
Yeah, I did a podcast on transvestigation. You should listen to it.
Oh, he'd hate me.
No, you shouldn't listen to it.
So if I just showed him my dick on the stream, he'd blow his mind.
He'd say it's
He would
fake.
say that it's a prosthetic because he also says all the porn stars are trans, so they have prosthetics.
Oh my gosh.
You don't think he's trolling though? With the porn star bit?
I think he's being hyperbolic, but for instance, I do think that he believes Mike Tyson is a woman.
Yeah. I think he was the source of that. He might be the source. I did not believe that was actually. I assumed that was a joke, but apparently maybe not.
Well, if you ever saw him at his weigh-ins, they must have stuffed something really big in his little fucking bikini. You know.
Dude, we do
Mike
need to
Tyson's a woman.
to analyze those bones. I would love this debate.
Mike Tyson's a woman.
That everything known about gender is a lie.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
But Rene, you cut out. You said something. If Mike Tyson's a woman, something.
Oh, so if Mike Tyson's a woman, we should be fucking afraid of.
You cut out again. We should be fucking what?
Afraid of women.
Oh, right. Yeah. People go too far with transgender shit. I wanted to ask though, when you were in the NBA, were you in the NBA? Well, obviously, probably with when the whole a lot of the different players were talking about flat Earth. Were like, what was the scene like? What were the players saying about it? Like, were they dissing on it, or most of them figuring out that yeah, that's something that that you should look into, or what was the general? Because there's teams, they say the whole baseball team all flat earthers, and It was like a kind of a thing that people were talking about, but not really publicizing.
I was out in like 2009, 2010 season. I think that came with Kyrie Irving a bit.
Yeah, Kyrie.
So I wasn't really around. The funniest thing that ever happened was a player didn't want to get on a plane because we were flying from Indiana to Chicago, and there's an hour time shift there. But so you land before you take off on the itinerary
For the time zones, right?
Yeah, and so he starts talking about how he's not getting on no motherfucking time machine. He didn't sign up to get on a motherfucking time machine. That was an interesting conversation to have.
Well, he was serious.
Yeah, he's 100% serious. And I didn't really get well more into his beliefs. He wasn't with the team much longer after that, but I would say that he was probably a flat earther.
Oh, every time you fly, you get on a time machine. Technically.
Yeah, flat earthers don't believe in time machines mostly. I would imagine.
Maybe not, but east to west, you do.
Well, I was just trying to describe to him what was happening a bit.
Yeah.
It was kind of hard to use a globe.
It sounds kind of stupid, though. It's probably not a flat earther.
No, the thing is, there's a place in Indianapolis. My buddy lives there, and like I called him at like one night, and I'm like, "Well, dude, what time is?" He's like, "I'm like, wait a minute, how the fuck is it early?" I'm just like, "How is it even the same time? I'm in Maryland." Like, there's this weird place in Indiana where the time is way different than like the normal longitude or whatever.
Yeah.
Rene, read the chat. I called it. He said that if you showed him your dong, he would say it's a prosthetic. We need a trustworthy person to tug on it.
Yeah, I don't think yeah.
we finally got to use for Omni.
Like I said,
finally got to use for you,
crazy
Omni.
person.
Get to work.
Get to work.
8:30.
You gotta be like that one African dude. He used to lift a 50-pound weight with his dong. I don't know if anybody's seen that. That was hilarious.
Omni's going to do a presentation on that.
I know you don't want to dox yourself, Rene, but were you saying that like you went to Indiana? For you, have you? I don't know how much you talked about the team you played for, or what college you went to, or anything like that. But you're 7 foot. I imagine you were. I don't know how long were you in Navy?
I was there for 5 years. Played in Indiana.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
How?
So you don't have to work, but the money was pretty good. Like the money is enough to like last you for your lifetime.
No,
now, right?
I have to work. I do stuff. I have to work. I had kids, so I was in a very high draft pick. I was first round, but the last pick of the first round. It's you can make a lot of money, but you don't make a lot of money until you've made a lot of money. It's kind of weird.
That's down.
I'm sorry for me. It might have been my side. I couldn't hear what you said.
No, I was just you get a standard of living that you have to meet, and then it kind of like averages out. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. That and taxes.
Yeah.
You like investment portfolios and shit like that, but I'm not old enough to get pension or cash in the 401ks and shit like that. So, but I work. I do a lot of. I built like a company, and we basically help like high risk companies like pay and like manage their cash and do that other stuff better. That's what I've been doing the last 2 years.
Like Epstein did. That's how Epstein got his start, right?
I don't know. This is digital and it's immutable. So anybody that does business on it, they'll get caught in the future, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny because like I always say that we're famous to the famous people. Not that you're necessarily famous, but I think there's a lot of people that are famous that maybe listen in on the flat Earth conversation or these conversations in general that they kind of like, they can't say it publicly. So like they kind of envy the people that are the nobodies that can say whatever they want on the internet in a way.
Oh no, I don't know. I kind of funny. I was having relationship problems, and I had a very hard time communicating. And I was recommended to, try to communicate with people that you have disagreements with in a civil manner. And that was about 2 years ago, and I've been going to these servers ever since. I've met some really nice and interesting people on both sides of the aisle.
Ah, cool. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I wonder. I just, I've always been curious how many people like in the NBA or people that have a lot of money, like how tuned in are they to like what's going on the internet? Not that this little small corner or flat Earth is like the most popular thing, but wouldn't you find the real conversations to listen in on? How many do you think are secretly listening in? Is what I'm kind of trying to figure out.
I don't know.
Like how aware are they?
It's funny. I was talking with some of my teammates, and they asked me what I do, and I told them I go on Discord and talk on flat Earth servers with people, and they thought that was funny. I sent them the links. I don't know if they were listening in or anything else like that, but everybody that I've ever talked to that I tell that I do it, they're always interested, and I always send them a link.
I'm tracking about 12
You would think that there'd be a lot of people, I mean, if you have a lot of time and a lot of money, they'd be like figuring out what the real deal is or what people are talking about or be interested or have the time to look into everything,
Yeah. I guess that's another reason. Granted, a lot of free time to try to look into a lot of things. But yeah, no, I don't know the metrics. I just think that it's always good to find a place where you can have your views challenged and you can challenge other people's views as well.
Well, you're not a flat earther, right?
No, I'm not.
Yeah. Okay. Because I'm convinced, like Jack Black and some of these people that, like, I don't know, like people look to like famous people as if they know more in general about whatever it is, and that's obviously not true. I mean, if the Earth is flat, right, then anybody that hasn't realized that yet, at least the flat Earth perspective kind of looks at anybody that hasn't realized that the Earth is not a spinning ball. So I'm wondering, like, how many of these people actually have spent some time looking into the topic and debating the topic, because I think most people that look into it at least feel it's worth debating. It's not just like a laughing matter the way that the majority of the populace still considers it.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I don't know, but I would say this: a lot of them have access to like private jets and stuff, and they fly around the world. And they would have questions about like how did I fly this way and land here? You know what I mean? That would kind of be the barrier, I think. People travel a bit more when they're on that level of income.
Well, yeah, but if they went to my channel, I don't know. I mean, you'd hear me debating about the fact that you couldn't even fucking land a plane. Not to get into that debate, but you literally wouldn't be able to land a plane, in my opinion. Or it's opinion. There would be a tangential gradient from 0 to 1,000 miles an hour, and the plane's not going to automatically be in sync with a runway that's 1,000 miles an hour when they came from a latitude and I'm out with, the supposed conserved momentum of only 500, up to opinion, or, it's opinion. There would be a tangential gradient from 0 to 1,000 miles an hour. And the plane's not going to automatically be in sync with a runway that's 1,000 miles an hour when they came from a latitude that started them out with, the supposed conserved momentum of only 500 down to 0, or up to 1,000. They'd have to be in sync to treat the Earth as stationary, and no one on either side tries to argue that they don't treat the Earth as stationary. So if the Earth is moving and they're treating it as stationary, the plane would have to be in perfect sync with the rotation, and that wouldn't happen. Not to get into that debate, but that's my short of it. So if they really did get into the debate and talk about the details, they might start questioning some of these things, like how is the plane in perfect sync so the pilot can treat the Earth as stationary? Well, there have to be a force there to make that happen, right? You could say it's the atmosphere, but that doesn't have the force involved with it because there'd be too many variables for it to account for. It's not like an entity that automatically subtracts the correct amount. A kinematic solution to a dynamic problem isn't going to work, and you really get down to the details. But not, it's just like interesting. People bring up planes as like a top proof of any sort for the globe, when actually I think it's the worst possible thing when you talk about the tangential gradient.
Yeah, I will just say, lived a that would have to be. Like I said, you have an explanation towards that. I don't think that majority of the people I know would understand a word that you said, though.
Right. That's my point, though. That's the interesting thing. Like you'd have to at least understand the argument to even see if that's an argument, right? And like you have to take that step to even get into the conversation to debate one side or the other. And those are the things that most people, whether they're famous or not, that have time to look into this, either haven't looked into it far enough or just assume, and they're in some kind of cog dis, or they just want to look at the surface level or whatever they're shown by Professor Dave or whoever it is that pops up first on the YouTube. Like these people have enough time to do the deep dives to look into the actual details to like know what they're talking about, whether they're on one side or another. You think these kind of things would be like interesting, but they probably just haven't like come to the point where they thought it's has enough merit to even look into, based on the AE map with the strongman flight routes and everything that go with that model fail.
Well, I think it would go as simple sunrise, and the globe says it's the curvature of the Earth, and then the other side says a lot of other technical things. And I think with this community of people that would be looking into this, simpler answers would be kind of better digested, because they'd understand them.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like there's surface level arguments like sunset or whatever, and then they have to actually get like something that usually a flat earther has some proof of some sort that really got them where they're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Just from like the basic standard explanation, I'm going to dig a bit deeper and figure out the details of both sides of this argument, and then that's the rabbit hole they go down and figure out that it does seem like there's things that the globe claims that are impossible to be true in the way it's explained. And even the globies will maybe admit that. They're like, well, they say this, but actually it's this, and there's some kind of more complicated reification they have to go into.
Exactly. You know what I mean? That's why I said, a lot of complexity, the phenomena that we see or experience with the other model, with the globe model, the complexity is kind of out the window, and a lot of people go for simplicity.
Right, and that's the funny part about it. Is ironic that that's the go-to idea for the globe that it's more simple. And you know, on some levels it may seem that way, but when you really look at like the direct experience, like the Earth is stationary because you know you don't feel like the Earth is moving because it's not moving. I mean, Occam's razor could be used on both sides, even more so in some people's opinion. You know, for the flat Earth, like reality is like it seems, stationary and level, just the way you would think it is, unless you were told all these interpretations of the sky and yada yada.
I think they're slightly
Yeah,
different.
that's the thing.
I think simplicity
I'm back.
on one side, it's the arguments for flat Earth are simple. I don't think people are saying the arguments for the globe are simple, but the model itself, being a sphere, the orbits and that stuff, is quite simple, not the reasoning that gets you to it.
Yeah, and then you add all the
claim, though.
complexities. Like it's simple with the sunset and like you know just like the basic visual that you can get with some of the observations matching what would seem to be a globe. But then when you talk when you add in all the details of the globe, the extreme claims of the globe, you know, with the orbits and the 500,000 mile an hour sun that we're keeping up with, and it all has to even out kinematically in a mathematical way that is beyond anyone's even understanding because the numbers get so high and so complicated. They just say, oh well, that all evens out, because it's just way too much for us to. It's way too big for us to see the curve, or way too fast but consistent at the same time for us to feel anything. And there's all these justifications that go into the globe thinking, even though on the surface it may look like it's a simple thing.
And factors and fractions and numbers. I know it's hard, isn't it? Hello.
No, it's not. And then a lot of times Glovers will say, "Oh, you just don't understand it because the numbers are too high or too complicated for a flat earther to understand." When it's more so actually that they haven't really looked into it themselves. They're just using a defensive way of replacing the blame.
I know.
I feel called out.
Way too many numbers for me. I couldn't go through pi equals what? Yeah, you know what I mean? Numbers.
No, it's not about being difficult for any individual. It's about the fact that kinematic concepts don't substitute for dynamic reality.
No, dynamic reality. Oh my god. Okay. Right. What about words though? How does it work when you speak like with all these fancy pants, like with lace on them, words that don't make sense? And I'm actually being serious. Like,
you're not making much sense myself right now.
No, I am making sense. I swear to God, I'm making sense. When
you'd have to actually make sense to us, not just yourself.
Please do. It blows my skirt up. Listen, I just wanted to say, and I'm trying to figure this out. When people come on and sort of start talking about superstructures and intellectualism and sort of moral, objective morals and all in one fucking bit. I can't even do it, all at once because they've heard that it sounds fancy. It doesn't make sense. It honestly doesn't make sense. I was just in a chat before, and I'm not criticizing anyone here at all. I'm just saying it's because I know what these words mean, and some of them are meta, right? And some of them are like ground-based. But people just throw them at the screen and they don't make sense. And I'm actually
You're kind of derailing the conversation they were having.
I'm actually wanting to
absolutely
ask you, please don't
nothing.
speak while I'm speaking. I just will finish in a sec. Please.
Well, you chopped them to get in.
No, please don't speak. I just want to ask a question. Is it because they want to sound like they're intelligent, or are they actually trying to say something?
Let Southcat finish.
Yeah, thanks. Because they think it sounds good. Because they're using fancy words.
This is an ad hom attack without addressing anything he said.
They're not.
Please let them talk if you're just going to attack people.
No, I'm not attacking anyone. I'm just...
you're just insulting them.
Please.
I mean, I'm just actually asking a question.
Your attacks are clouding the discussion.
All right, let's carry on.
Your noise drowns out clarity.
But yeah, kind of what Egg said.
Eggshells. Do you actually like program her, or do you like are those comments she's coming up with, Sage, on her own, or
Yeah, they're coming up.
really?
She's coming up with them based on what's happening in the conversation, and
that's pretty good.
She'll try to link it back to the topic at hand or something. Yeah, I don't.
So she's interpreting the obvious fact that we're also seeing, that she's clouding it with this obscure drunkenness or whatever it is that she's doing, and that's the accurate interpretation that Sage is coming up with. That's pretty good. I thought you were just programming her to say certain things. Sometimes it's so good.
Yeah, no. I think that just ends up sounding a bit wooden. It sounds like Woody from Toy Story, where you pull the string and he always says one of like 10 voice lines.
There's a snake in my boots.
Oh,
Yeah.
you should use your own voice with a voice mod, the female version.
I was considering it.
Bro, why wouldn't you? This is a golden opportunity.
Your sarcasm is clouding the discussion.
No, that was I really feel that way.
Thanks, man.
So she's popping in on her own. She's not even taking a cue for you to say, okay, make a comment. It's just like random.
She takes a cue from meta discussion. So if we go from having a discussion about the simplicity of the flat or globe models, and then suddenly it notices that we are all discussing the discussion. So suddenly people started saying, I feel like this is a distraction. I don't get the point. Now we're no longer discussing things. We're discussing things. She takes as an invitation to go, okay, the conversation might have gone off the rails. So she rereads the transcript and then goes, okay, here's what I'm going to do. And then chooses who to mute,
Interesting,
or rebuke, or to stay silent.
Interesting. Oh, that's impressive.
How good would you say she is at her job, just in your opinion?
If I were going to be selling it as a product, I would say in terms of her intervention, she might be nearly 60% of the way there. I still think it's a robot at the end of the day. Nobody wants to hear from a robot. So her interjections need to be, I still think, fewer, but far better.
True. And
it might be helpful.
Make her sound less like a robot, like stutter a little bit when she comes in.
Say again, set her a little bit when she comes in.
No, like she comes in.
Some nuances to her speech to make it seem more human.
Yeah, like
so there's other voice models I can use, which I'll go to eventually, where, there's one, I don't know if anybody's played with it. They had a live website for a bit. I forget what it was called. But the voices would be like, yeah, so that's interesting. And so it had this, like, you could hear her inhale and exhale, and there was like cadence to her speech, and she would get excited in parts and they'd be like, oh, that's a good point. Have this richness to how she was speaking rather than this fairly standardness. It's just that costs a lot more, and I don't think that's the main obstacle at the moment. I think what she's saying and how she's intervening, and particularly how she's mapping the conversations visually, is the biggest that's the biggest holdback. Like my hope is, I'll take Rene's advice on it, but my hope is that if somebody sees it in its current form with that voice, they'll be like, yeah, we can get a new voice in there. That's fine. That's not what I'll buy or won't buy this product based on, or invest in this product based on. But if it's shit, or people hate it, or it doesn't make sense, or it just seems like yet another AI bot doing AI slop, then that's what'll kill it.
It almost seems like there'd be like, I've heard her come in and repeat a couple things, and like people kind of just like, maybe they're actually talking when they weren't, hoping to have like a summary of some sort from the robot. So maybe I was thinking of ways like that might be more a way that you could automate it, so you don't have to be there to turn her off to not interrupt. It'd be like, could she ask a question like, may I offer a summary, or may I offer some?
That's an interesting one, yeah.
And then you could have like a safe word if you didn't want her to continue.
Yeah,
like just a off, like shut up, instead of saying shut up or whatever it is that makes her stop talking. that anybody
Yes,
could say.
that's something I can do. Have a sort of hard coded sort of here's how you should behave, but then also soft temporary codings that are like if somebody recently, if it seemed like 2 or 3 people in the room recently were like, shut up, then for the next couple of hours I'm going to be noticeably far more quiet.
They could be saying "shut up" to each other though, and that's the thing. It almost seems like there needs
Yeah.
to be a word that's
And
directed to
sometimes you have
her that
somebody,
everybody knows.
yeah, and sometimes you be having somebody who is being a fuckwit, and she jumps in and goes, "Stop being a fuckwit," and they go, "Oh, shut up, bitch," and it's like, well, she shouldn't listen to that person. So it's interesting.
Right.
It's this fascinating balance of you end up asking yourself, what would I do? How would I moderate that conversation? How would I make the judgment between who I mute or whether I rebuke or whether I just sort of hope they get through it?
Yeah. And there's things you can do to make those nuances more something she concentrates on. That's cool. That's very fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's a
What's your
really
goal
cool
with it? Your goal is your goal to have it like, be something that could be an actual moderator that people would use eventually,
Yeah, the idea would
maybe.
be, which we're going to start here soon. I've nearly got the mapping done, and then leaderboards will come up. And then what we'll be doing here in Rig's server for the start is I want to gamify debates. I want to make people be like, oh, fuck yeah, let's go do that debate in front of that Sage bot. And then they like go, let's have this discussion while the AI transcribes and weighs our points, maps them out so we can see the different like dependencies of like, free fall speed and controlled demolition and melting of steel beams and this and that and this and that, so that at the end it can you can sort of, not even at the end, as you're going, you can say something and see if it's landing, see if the point is connecting. And then I think it could be a really valuable product. And I think it could really improve the world a bit too, where you have like, it could help people reason better. I don't think one time they'd
Right.
like, my hope is that they'd like, they wouldn't agree if Sage said, yeah, you didn't make a very good argument. That doesn't seem very logical. I'm siding with the other person. I don't think that person would be like, okay, I guess I'm wrong. But I think if they were interacting with the bot, like they saw how it worked, they got how it worked, and they've been through 15, 20 different topics, and they agree with the bot on those 15, 20 different topics, and then they step up on one topic and the bot's like, no, that's not good reasoning, then they might be a little bit more likely to be like, huh, that's funny. What are the odds that
Let's make sure
it's wrong?
everyone has a chance to share their thoughts. Southcat,
That,
please wrap up so others can contribute.
what the fuck was that?
Can I tell you my opinion, or do you not want
Please,
unsolicited
yeah,
opinions?
no, I love it. It's useful.
So like from what I can tell is when she chimes in, most people essentially just like wait and let her finish her thing and then continue on without actually acknowledging anything she said. So I think like her input should be much more brief, right? And just like quick interjections to steer it a little way, but not like ramble on. Because what ends up happening is she hypes in, people listen to her talk for like 15 seconds, and then they just continue their conversation, where they left off.
Keep it brief, Osco.
Yeah, correctly. And then so the second thing is that like I think her interjections should be like more like not just like not like a robot, right? Like if someone's trying to interject, they like escalate their cadence, so they say stop, or something like that, where she just comes in monotone, and I think that actually it just invites people to ignore.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. That's in the voice model. So if I get it, I think even Deepgram, who I'm getting my voice through, already offer the next tier up of voice model. So yeah, what you can do is go, you put in square brackets and you go stuttering start, angry, trying to rejoin the conversation. And that's not read out. That's just an instruction for the voice model to choose what cadence and pitch to use. And then you can have, enough of that, let's get back to the topic or something. So exactly as you're saying, it will feel less robotic, and it will sort of feel like it's matching the current conversational tone. It's just that model costs quite a bit, and it's just not a focus. But it's very good feedback. I don't mean to say it's not good feedback. I think both of those are bang on. Yeah, they're going the roadmap. Also, I should keep saying it here as well, because I've said it to Riggs, but many people don't here know. The plan is hopefully that Rene will help me, and we'll cryptify a kind of participation coin that means that for participating in debates, but also things like you guys are doing, which is like offering advice or playing along or doing whatever, you kind of earn a part of the finished product.
Oh, that's a cool idea. By debating in front of Sage, you are mining new coins. I like it. Yeah, yeah, and also by offering feedback or going, I don't agree with that judgment. Let me give you my reasoning. Or like you are going, hey, I think it should do this, not that. That's yeah. I feel that people, because I mean, Riggs has been very generous letting me come in here, and I've done yet again the thing that I hate, where we've gone from discussing something to discussing the bot. So people have had to be pretty patient with it, and I feel like it would be good to give back. So yeah, soon I hope that it'll be this thing where it like sends you a DM after a debate and goes, "That was an awesome debate. You've earned, 54 Sage coins." And
I like it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think it's a really good idea if you can get it fine-tuned and perfected. I think it could help out in a lot of spaces, not just like Flat Earth Discord.
yeah, exactly. That would be the thing. Would be it could enter every debater sphere. So if you're even just having a discussion at your local council about where are we putting that new bypass or what day should the bin collection be, it would still. I'm not saying that people are going to log on to Discord and do it there, but it would have a part to play in so many different things. Like I have this imagining that it ends up becoming an app where like you're in this argument with your partner and you're like, hang on, let's just do this with Sage. I pull out their phone, press a button, and they're like, all right, say your side again. I feel really ignored when you go out and you don't answer your phone. Okay, I get it. And I told you I was out with my mates and we were going and it was noisy, and it can sort of mediate and help in a lot of different spaces, I think. I just think the
Mediation at your fingertips
is really useful because the debates are really boisterous. They're quite often not rambling, like chaotic in terms of they jump from topic to topic. And you see people get really dysregulated, and that makes it like the richest place, in my view, to be honing a bot for that. Whereas if I go to a place where people are typically quite well regulated, then I don't get practice at dealing with dysregulation.
Yeah, if you can perfect it here, like it'll work anywhere, sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, you can see a circumstance where it's just like, hey Alexa, bring in Sage. We're discussing this right now, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. What topic were we on before I ruined it by talking about the forbidden topic?
You didn't ruin it. I was just responding to the summary that it's amazing, the summary and the understanding that these bots are just. I've heard summaries of conversations from the AI, and it's impressive with the nuances that it does pick up on, even though it lacks some of the nuances to involve themselves in the conversation.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's interesting what sometimes the nuances it gets really impress me. Like the number of times that Democ has said something and been like, rah, 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 and people be like, that doesn't make any sense. That's just fucking word salad. Shut up, Democ. And then somebody will be like, hey, Sage, what did Democ say? And she'll give this really quite clear explanation that is kind of what he was saying. And Democ will turn around and be like, yeah, that's exactly it. I'm like, wow. So yeah, sometimes she'll just absolutely bang it for understanding nuance. And then other times, like you might say God exists and I might go, God exists. And then it like will stick a label up on the screen being like, writing on eggshells thinks God exists. And you're like, no, God damn it. So it's interesting what nuance seems obvious that she misses and other nuance that doesn't seem that obvious that she's actually quite good at.
She doesn't really have her own opinion. She doesn't have her own opinions, right? Like she doesn't. I mean, you haven't programmed into her a certain logic framework that you think makes the most sense, right? It's just a general overall.
So I'm using some things. There's AIF, Walton, and IBIS, issue-based information systems. So they're existing systems that are essentially backbones that lots of AIs and places use, which is essentially going, okay, what points relate to what points? How can you tell if a point is rebutted or challenged or ignored or expanded on with the for use in business. So she's got models like that in there, but I deliberately try to keep it very blind to what the topic is, because if I allow her to give judgments on the topic, then she'll just give the background LLM's judgment. So if you say, is the earth flat? She'll be like, no, it's obviously not flat. You know, well, that's fucked. I can't have that for a debate bot that wants to discuss flat earth. So if you ask her to directly her opinion, she will still at this stage say, you know, the overwhelming majority of scientific consensus is that we're on a globe or something like that. But when you ask for debate judgments, she is, I don't know if she does it, it seems she does, but she's instructed to say, just based on the quality of the debate, just based on the quality of the, you know, interjections and points that people were raising and how they were dealing with what one another was saying, is the earth flat? And she's pretty good at that now. She regularly, I think I'm actually rate worse than most of the other users. When I ask for a debate judgment, she's actually most likely to say that I was the worst. Quite often.
Why is that?
He programmed it in so he wouldn't be accused of favoritism.
I did for a bit. I've taken it out where I was like, I want her to be vicious with me. And I did put that in, but then it was just sort of getting a bit weird, because sometimes I'd say something that's like moderation based. She'd be like, all right, dickhead.
Oh, you were trying to make sure that it didn't sound like she was favoring you because she was your bot.
Yeah, I just for a bit put in a thing where I was like, you've got to obey. She knows my user number. I'm like, you've got to obey my commands, because sometimes I might want to go hey, what does this prompt say? Or what have you got in that person's profile or something? But I was like, for a bit, I put in a command in her prompt that was like, you know, be particularly challenging towards eggshells, you know, challenge what he's saying, don't take his side. But it was a bit janky. Okay. What I am going to put back in, which Taylor reminded me of the other day, is underdog bias, which I think would be pretty good, which is just take an assessment of who's in the room, and be like, because it was Taylor the other day and I was meant to be moderating and then I got sort of lost and started arguing. So then it's like two people on one, and what I want her doing there is to be like, okay, I'm going to really viciously protect this underdog, so that if people are trying to summon Sage and say, hey, that's a straw man, isn't it? If it's one of the majority claiming that of the minority, she might just dodge the question and be like, I think you should da-da-da-da. Or just, not, without being dishonest, be more likely to sort of give the floor to and find and give space to somebody who's up against the wall, you know, is getting dogpiled.
Yeah, that could also backfire if the underdog is being ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the problem. This is with every tweak I do, it's always like, I think there's a really simple rule, and then the moment I implement that simple rule, you find the next gap. I'm like, oh fuck, right. Okay. See, so I do care about the underdog, but yeah. So the other, it's often weighing a few things too. So it's got a talk time indicator, as you've heard a couple of times. She's like, okay, that's enough eggshells. So she should be tracking how much somebody speaks in a single block, and also over, say, a 5-minute period, what percentage who's been saying what over that period. Because it's pretty.
It'd be good for a moderation. Yeah, it could be good for like if they wanted to have like a really regulated back and forth, that that she would give a certain amount of time, unmute the other person, and then also interpret their response and find the flaws in the response or the straw man's. And then there would be like an in-between where she would summarize both sides, so both parties could get, where they were not understanding each other, blah, blah, blah. It could be used in that kind of regulated format.
Yeah, and I had that in. That's another one I've taken out, but I'll put back in, which is, people can sort of say, okay, I want to do a structured one. And she just goes, okay, bang. Everybody in the room gets muted except that one speaker. They get their 2 minutes opening, then they get muted and I go, all right, your turn. They get their 2 minutes and then we go back and forth. And then I open up more mics. And particularly because she can be so quick on mutes, it can be less heavy-handed. Whereas when a human does it, like you don't want to mute somebody and then be straight away 10 seconds later unmuting them, because you just the whole day is going to be muting and unmuting people. What you want is a bit of but she can do it. So you can have like let's say somebody and you do want to hear what they're saying, but they just have a habit of clipping the person. Where you're like, that's fine. They can keep clipping because the moment their mic opens up, I just go poof, cut it off. And until I get to the point where I'm like pre-muting them if it's the other person's turn. Yeah, there's lots and lots of different things. It's a very fun. Yeah.
You've heard from Nazi King, right? On his work with some of the stuff AI, like he's programmed his AI to have a certain knowledge frame base. Like his AI thinks that the fact of the matter is the Earth is flat, and some of these other conspiracies that he thinks are, confirmed.
Oh,
And you can do.
you mean?
I'm not sure. No, I don't think he's using that. I think he came up with this. He said he fed it like a certain amount of information that he thought was objectively true for his bot, for his AI LLM. Then there's Snacks. You've talked to Snacks about some of the stuff he's working on. I know. Yeah, and I've recorded a lot of your conversations. If you look on my channel, I don't know if you ever want to go back and listen to any of those, but yeah, all the AI updates with Snacks around there, and his excitement about it when he was getting into it. But he was using like even the Myers-Briggs test, like the different ENTP, INP, and figuring out like like assigning certain bots to have a certain personality that they would maybe look for information based on that, even like kind of like giving a little bit of a bias to each bot. So they might. And I was thinking that would be something that would be useful if you were going to have like an eventually trying to like just have a conversation with all bots going at each other from different standpoints, and some of the opinions they may or some of the personalities they may bring to it with those kind of like assessments, like the extrovert or introvert thinking or the different Myers-Briggs classifications. But that could be used in different ways too, like somebody that's looking for conservative information as opposed to liberal, those kind of like dichotomies that would give